On this episode of The Lab, I has a box. There's a lot of boxes, and I freaking open all of them. Lots of RC awesomeness in here. We picked the last winners of gear, guys, rims. We got ourselves a serious lab update. Computer, turn on the lab. Yes.
Okay.
Computer, turn on fill.
Okay.
Computer, make me a sandwich.
Okay, you're a sandwich.
Computer, turn on backlight. And we freaking think of creative ways to mount cameras on our RC drift cars, man. There's some cool ideas. This is the most recent one. It's pretty sick. We fixed the Promoto MX so I can run it properly and get some really, really good shots. But first, all right, man, I've had this box for quite some time. This is from Kpoprc, man. If you don't know who Kpoprc is, you should. I'll definitely leave his YouTube link below, so check him out. He does some really amazing mechanically stabilized FPV racing, and he sent me one of these. Man, oh, those peanuts. There's gotta be a note. Oh, here we go. Have I learned nothing from Jimmy Oaks? Have I learned nothing? Huge. It says K-pop, you rock, JP. Thanks a lot, JP, for like sending this thing out to me. First thing, I guess a bunch of wiring. Don't fuck it up, man. Ha. Oh. All right, sick, man. Oh, that's pretty cool. This is basically a brushless gimbal, and it's all like counterweighted properly, so it's balanced really, really well. What's cool about it is it's using the Storm 32 open source brushless controller board. It's the same one that I built my brushless gimbal with that I was using in all those like 5th scale videos 10 years ago. It is open source, so I'm assuming the community has been growing. You can see there's a FPV camera on here, still got its little like protective cap on it. And it's using these like very precise motors just designed for gimbal. So this thing will be very smooth operation. Usually the FPV tracking that you find on a lot of these setups are using servos, and servos can be really jittery. If this interests you, go visit Kpoprc. The link is in the description below, and check him out because he builds some really, really cool stuff. I'm not sure if he's actually coming to like market with these or if he's going to be selling these things. I think he is. So you're going to have to definitely subscribe to him and check him out. If you want to see more stuff with this setup, then, you know, and you're not subscribed to Kpoprc, then freaking subscribe already. What are you doing? It's almost 5th scale size. Like, we should probably put it in a 5th scale. That would be sick. Anyway, that's so cool. Okay, awesome. Kpoprc, thank you so much for freaking sending that out to me. Oh, check this thing out. I ordered this like a while ago. It is part specific for this drift 1/24 scale drift chassis that yeah, came in. It had like a bit of a stripped center sliding rack bearing, and that's the one that's cam, so that's the screw that pivots and pushes against the slide rack. And so I bought a bunch of these parts just like straight from the company, and I didn't take that long to get here. Oh my god, really? Like, what do they hide in here? Some kind of communicable disease? Yo, like this is like a whole other level of wrap it up. Yeah, so GL Racing, this is a GL Racing chassis, and I got pretty much every component of the steering system. First of all, I got a whole screw kit because I was like ordering it anyway, and it wasn't really that expensive. That's so awesome to have because these are like little tiny iPhone size screws, ridiculously small. Okay, and there, now you can see here's the slide rack, and the only reason I had to buy this particular piece is just for that little tiny MFer, and I had to buy the whole slide rack for that. That's just fine, it wasn't that expensive. That's one cool thing about 1/24 scale is that these parts are dirt cheap, so like, whatever, man, you could go to the bar and have like 2 pints of beer, or you could buy all these parts. You know, that's the kind of world we live in right now. Anyway, check this thing out. This goes underneath the slide rack, and it kind of positions all 3 bearings, including it allows that little piece that I showed you that I had to buy the slide rack for. to slide in there. The one that's on this car is slightly, well, not slightly, it's definitely stripped out, so you can't really, it doesn't really hold in place. The way I fixed it though, because I did fix it, was I just used a screw and a couple of nuts, and it's been holding ever since, which is actually pretty great. So I don't actually have to make this fix. Let's get the next thing to unbox. Bam! All right. One more big box here. This one I think came straight from A-Main, maybe Horizon. Actually, it came from Horizon. Yes, there you go. I got replacement side wheels for the Promoto MX because we've pretty much destroyed the other ones. So it's just good to have these things to put on the motorcycle when I give it back to Scale Builders Guild. Also, I did get a replacement front caliper, which is what took up crap on us on the front of that bike. I admittedly think it was dirt bike park where it took a pretty nasty header into the dirt. I think that's probably where it broke, and then I just didn't notice, and we were running it for a while until it just like got stuck, I'm assuming, and then it just wouldn't ride right. Seems like the parts are stocked, so you can get parts for your Promoto MX. Bam! Anything else? I thought I might have something else. Ugh. I did get some more Bambu Lab filament. This is the filament. I got PLA Tough. I did start printing some of the next project. Check it out. Maybe you guys can like yell really loudly when you kind of figure out what it is. Look at this. Boom. Ooh, yes. So this is a collab between RC Creations and MJet. RC Creations is the guy that designed all those really cool 3D printable ski-doos. I think Scale Builders Guild built one of them, which is super cool. But this is their kind of joint venture. These STLs are actually free. What costs money is the jet pump design that is created by MJet, which is his newest design. It is $60 US, worth every penny, and it uses these crazy seals. I'm hoping water ingress isn't that much. This thing's designed to have a lot of flotation in it, so I think it's going to be like really good regardless. But check out MJet. I'll leave the links below for the Facebook page and his YouTube page. And also I'm going to leave RC Creations video link for the nitro version that he designed of this, which is super rad. If I had the patience, I would make a nitro version, but I just like nitro and no clutch and just like adding another element of like nitro-ness. It just seems like a massive headache for nitro. I think we're gonna build this one electric. Actually, I know because this is the electric hull version. But yeah, it's gonna be super rad and super big and kind of like lazy. And so we're gonna run it in some waves, I think. Badass though, eh? It's super, super badass. Anyway, that's it for all the unboxings, right? That's it. Let's move on. Let's move on. Bam! This is the LOSI MX Pro. This is a dirt bike, man. Come on. And it has a gyro. It sounds like a goddamn airplane when you turn it on. It holds itself upright. It does a little bit of a weird wiggle in order to keep itself upright. It does have these sort of training wheel style, you know, limiters that will stop the bike from pitching over too far where it will lose traction. Although sometimes it happens depending on the surface you're running on. Anyway, I gotta actually do a full video on this thing, but
Fatality.
Yeah, we broke it, and I've just kind of been waiting for parts. And finally, Horizon has stocked them, so I got to replace this MFR right here. This is what broke, and it's the freaking caliper. I tried to fix it myself, but I was missing the spring, and the spring is like kind of a very specialized spring. You can't just use like a pen spring, which is what I was trying to do. I'll show you my fix because it's pretty cool. Anyway, let's get this thing apart. All right, you can see, you know, that's the stock caliper there. They already have upgraded ones of these. They don't sell just this part, which they should. There's a part number for this in the manual, but I can't seem to find the part, even like out of stock. So maybe you have to buy the whole caliper. I'm not sure. This is my fix here, so you can see what I did. I like drilled through, I put a bolt through. I had a dead servo that I just basically like hacksawed off, and then I used red Loctite to kind of Loctite it. You can kind of see the red Loctite a little bit. And that was the plan, but I didn't have the spring, so I had to kind of buy a new one anyway. Who cares? Anyway, less talking, more doing. All right, she's back. She's back in action, which is sweet. I mean, it's got a wobbly front wheel, but that shouldn't, we'll probably make it more wobbly than that anyway before replacing it, because I mean, there's still some life left in there, even though it's wobbly. We do have a small problem with the chain tension. You can see it does look like it came from the factory with maxed out dropouts in the back, which seems silly to me. You know, you would think that they would have maxed them out the other way in order to give more adjustment when just the chain starts to stretch a little bit, and also the cogs start to kind of oval out, which it's just like, I mean, if you're a mountain biker, you know this happens. You have to replace your driveline pretty much every season, depending on how much you ride. Because this stuff just wears out, and you can see there's quite a bit of slop in the chain. So we got to keep an eye out on that. I don't know, maybe the longer rear A-arm, when you can get the aluminum rear A-arm, might have more adjustment. I don't know. What would have been cool is if they had screws on the back end, like they do with real motorcycles, that would allow you to adjust your chain tension without having to use these kind of like, spacers. I don't know. Anyway, it's still pretty cool. We'll keep an eye out on it. The bike is sick. It's really fun to drive. I don't know if it looks good on camera. We're gonna do our best to make it look good on camera. I've seen some good videos, but yeah, I don't know. Slow-mo doesn't seem to work that well because it just looks like it's dancing. Anyway, let's keep going. On to the next thing. Oh, drift cameras. Yeah. If you've been subscribed to me for long, you know that I've been hitting up a local drift track called Strictly Sideways, and I've been hanging out with all the locals there, and we've been kind of trying to figure out creative ways to make RC drifting look cooler, and I don't know, bring more variety to the shooting landscape that is RC drift video making. This right here is the camera that I use. It's not a very new camera. It is the DJI Osmo Action 2. This particular camera has its faults for sure, but the one thing that makes it so awesome is how tiny this thing can be when you just need it to be light. You need it to stick to something, and you also want some really, really good stabilization. This particular DJI action camera introduced, or at least for the brand, was the first to introduce horizon stabilization, or horizon like anchoring. That's what makes this such a great camera. It does crop when you have it in that mode, but you can turn this camera any direction you want, and it will make sure to keep the horizon, vertical, parallel with the ground, parallel. You won't have weird skewed images. So that's what makes this camera so great. It is magnetic, so it does stick to things, which is pretty great. And that's the way that I was trying to get these things to stick. So you take your camera and you can pretty much stick it anywhere you want. I was using this stuff off of Amazon called Alien Tape. Not quite sure if it's the best thing for the job. But it is easy to remove, and you just got to be careful because sometimes your stickers and your livery will pull off before this does, so it'll take the stickers with it. So keep in mind, stick your camera, or at least unstick your camera carefully. Yeah, we were sticking it here, we were sticking it looking the other way, we were putting it on the front. I got a really good shot, with the wheel on the front. We even stuck it inside Trevor's car, which has a full dash. The steering wheel doesn't turn though, obviously, and neither do the gauges, but it was a really, really cool freaking look, and we had to do something even cooler by adding some kind of head tracking style movement to that camera, and we did come up with this son of a bitch right here. This is a Reef's drift servo, so it's super fast and is great for throwing this camera on top of this little 3D printed platform. And as you know, as you turn your steering wheel through the gyro, even with the gyro, so as it slides, it will maintain a forward-facing angle, and that those shots really started to look really cool. I wish it was just slightly wider, the DJI, but you know, whatever. Maybe the next version will have a wider angle view, or just a bigger sensor, so that that stabilization can happen, you know, without so much crop. Now I'm in a place where I'm starting to design things in a new CAD software called Onshape. Onshape is fantastic. What a difference from the archaic ways of SketchUp, the free version of SketchUp that I've just been somehow imprisoned. I've imprisoned myself for so long. Anyway, but Onshape is great. I've started to sort of create these camera caddies. Camera can slip right into these mounts, and what it allows me to do is to create these like holes for RC ball links, and that allows me to use these threaded rods and create these long kind of extensions and get that camera to kind of stick out further away from the car. I haven't tested this stuff out just yet, which is too bad, but I have designed it and I've been 3D printing it. We did do one like this, although I didn't have the ball link on it, and we were just using a cable, and this was stuck to the bottom of the chassis, and we had these like felt pads here that you know, so the camera weight didn't have to necessarily be pushing or pulling on the chassis and the chassis suspension, which can affect steering, which is no bueno. This one works really well because, you know, you have this like pad underneath here, and the weight of the camera can actually bounce off the floor. With that stabilization from my camera, it can handle it no freaking problem. See, that's pretty cool, right? Look, now we can take our camera and we can double side tape it, find our shot. I'm gonna record it just so we get it, so you can see what I'm talking about. So that's the shot right there, right? See? That's the shot. It is pretty much dragging on the ground, but that's kind of cool, and I kind of feel like that also helps out with the suspension. You can see how much movement is in this mount, and the stabilization in the camera it's just not going to matter that much. This is version 1. Did make another one over there, but this is just not attached to anything. So you can see I put just three sets, well, 2 sets of 3 holes on the front and on the back here to accept, you know, ball ends. You know what I'm talking about? First of all, the camera actually slides in here, and boom, right? And it's pretty tight, so hopefully it doesn't come out. I don't think it will. We're just drifting, right? This thing's come off of these drift cars many times before, so you shouldn't be too concerned. And then we got our threaded ends, ball ends to ball end to threaded end. The only issue with this is, you know, these move in all axes pretty much. So when you do triangulate the camera position, you do have to lock these all in using some wire. So I did put a second hole there so you can actually put wire through, and we can like anchor these however we want to, and we can like lift the camera and lower the camera on you know, on that pivot. That's totally the position we want. Now we just have to string a bunch of cable through here to anchor it and keep the whole setup as light as possible. That's the idea anyway. You know, I don't know. It's pretty cool, dude. Like, I mean, it's light. It doesn't make the car list too hard. And it does a little bit, of course, because this is still heavy. You know, it's still a solid 50 grams or whatever. But, you know, you can adjust the right side of your shocks to sort of take up that slot. It's going to definitely affect the ride. But whatever, man, it's going to get some really, really good shots. And that's what I think we're after, see? We can do like this in any configuration, pointing forwards, pointing back, you know, try to get higher, maybe even make these longer. Maybe I'll figure out a way to mechanically lock the balls. I kind of feel like that will help out as well. Anyway, super cool. I'm so into it. How awesome is that? Anyway, so stay tuned to the lab to see more about this setup or just Kpoprc RC in general. Huge! Oh man, what else? Oh, we gotta give away those rims. Yeah! That's it for this episode of Kpoprc RC. Man, the winner of Gear Guide's rims is Manfred P 1980. That's right, Manfred P. Contact me on Instagram and we'll just trade. I'll grab your shipping information and we'll set you up with a set of these awesome, super deep dish 5-spoke badasseries. Is that a word? I don't know. If you made it this far, don't forget to subscribe to Kpoprc RC and stay tuned for everything awesome that happens with RC stuff. Lots of stuff in the works. The RS200 project's coming back. Relearning all of CAD. It's going to be great. And we'll see you guys on the next lab. Boom.